Hello and welcome to Luna's Den of Horror. This is a podcast of all things horror, from movies to life and all that's in between. This is my first episode, so please bear with me. My friends Jen and Brian suggested that I start a podcast to talk about my encounters I have at horror conventions with the guests I meet, so I decided to create this podcast to talk about all things horror related. I have been a horror fan since birth. For as long as I can remember, I have always watched horror TV shows and movies. Growing up, I used to watch the Twilight Zone marathons. I remember watching Tales from the Dark Side, and even though not a horror show, Amazing Stories had some stories that you could label horror-esque. I remember seeing Michael Jackson's Thriller music video on MTV when it was a UHF channel, and even remember watching Tales from the Crypt when it came out on HBO. And not to forget, getting excited about the Stephen King miniseries like It and The Stand. Another huge influence for me was Fangoria magazine. I had a babysitter who had the magazines, and I would sit and read them all the time. I was in awe of FX makeup, and I wanted to learn how to do it after reading an article about Kevin Yeager doing Freddy Krueger's makeup. I did wind up going to school for a year for FX makeup, but unfortunately I wasn't able to finish the program. But that's a story for another day. The horror genre has had such a huge impact on my life. I know it sounds weird, but once I tell you, it will make more sense. The horror genre gave me the ability to connect with some of the loveliest people ever. It gave me a family of other horror lovers that to this day, about 20 plus years later, I am still connected to, some of which I have never met. The internet, while seems messy, actually gave us little horror fiends the ability to find each other. How I wish we can go back to the days of message boards. It was so exciting, different, and new for us all. It is something I will never regret doing. The connections we made are lifelong. I can still remember most of the screen names or handles, like Perfect Baby Perfect, Value Rocker, The Woman in Black, Enemy Within, Cthulhu 23, Skullnick, Nixter, Living Dead Punk, Dice, Gus Bjork, who gave me for a Secret Santa gift a sculpture he did of Peliquin from Nightbreed, which I still have. There's also Splatterpunk, Lee the Agent, The Rev, Buzz, and Uncle Creepy, to name a few. The list can go on, so there's a chance I may talk about you on a future episode. I can't really explain how awesome it all was. We started on the Fangoria message board and hopped around till we had our last home on the Dread Central message board. Once message boards became less and less, we all connected on various social media apps. I even tried to revive the message boards route with my own at fangohorror.freeforums.net. That's Fango, FANGO, FREEforums.net, N-E-T. Maybe one day it will make a comeback. Feel free to check it out. I would love to see this become active again, even if it's just a few posts a day or replies a day. I will say, though, if you're looking for a social media app for horror fans, check out the Slasher app. It's an awesome app just for horror fans. The community is awesome there, and since we all share our love for horror, it's a great place to talk about your favorite horror stuff like music, movies, books, arts, and more. I'm on there under the name Luna Blix. That's LUNABLIX, and that's X as in X-ray. The creator, Damon, has put so much into this app to make it great. He created something that there was a need for. Check the app out. You won't be disappointed. Now that you know a little bit about me, let's jump into a quick story about when I met Olivia Hussey. For those of you that may not recall who she is, she played Jess in the original Black Christmas by Bob Clark. Black Christmas was released on December 20th, 1974 in the United States. It was the movie that unknowingly started a whole new horror subgenre called slashers. When I first watched Black Christmas, I only knew what I read on the message boards about it. It seemed to be a favorite among many, so I decided to check it out. I am actually glad I did. This movie creates the perfect atmosphere, tension, and suspense to keep you engaged. It shows that you don't need much to get a reaction and that sometimes less is better. The movie is a favorite horror holiday movie of mine. I always watch it around the holidays. Usually it's one of the movies I kind of kick off my Christmas movie watching season. I met Olivia Hussey at Chiller Theater back in October 2022. She was so sweet and so very nice. She was this small woman who was well dressed. She had a hat on and these large black sunglasses. I walked up to her table and got an autograph personalized to me. She saw my cell phone case, which is a Ouija board. She started to tell me to be very careful with the Ouija boards. Don't play them by yourself. Make sure you cleanse everything. And we wound up having a nice little conversation about them and how I've used them before. While the encounter was brief, it was one I will never forget. She was one of the sweetest people you could meet. To stay with the theme of the movie Black Christmas, this past Chilla, October 2024, I got to meet Lynn Griffin, who played Claire. She was super cool, very friendly, and full of energy. She told me about a fan film on YouTube that is a sequel to Black Christmas called It's Me, Billy. It has 2 chapters and Lynn is in it. I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. It was interesting because they delve into what happened after and into who Billy was. If you're a fan of Black Christmas, check it out. I recommend it. I also met Margot Kidder, who played Bob, at a chiller that was in January because I remember I made my friends Amanda and Nikki go to it for my birthday. I am a Superman fan. I grew up watching the Christopher Reeves Superman movies and he was always my favorite. So meeting Lois Lane was one of the best birthday gifts. She was so nice and friendly. I told her it was my birthday and that it was my birthday gift meeting her, and she wished me a happy birthday. I used to have the pictures from the Chillicon on my MySpace page. I hope I find them on one of my old computers since I still have all my hard drives. I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. I would like to thank my friends Jen and Brian for suggesting to me to start this podcast, Tim for creating the cover art, and to Dustin Matson, who pointed me in the right direction for the app to record this. He's an indie filmmaker who has a YouTube channel named The Deep Cut Podcast. Go check him out. If you have any feedback, questions, comments, or just want to say hi, feel free to email me at lunasdenofhorror@gmail.com. That's LUNASDENOFHORROR@gmail.com. I promise I will get better at speaking as this goes along, and I know my accent can be a bit hard to understand, but I will try my best to speak clearly. Thank you for listening. See all you ghouls next time on Luna's Den of Horror.